Why we do not live for 5 to 900 years? Hello, my people. Skywalker here with a new way of light. If this generation was to be the first liners of a mutation, let's say that humans would not be born without the sense of smelling. Then at some point, a generation would come without knowing that they were deficient of smelling. In fact, they wouldn't even know what is smelling. They would embrace that new norm of diminished faculty as their natural way. Age to age, the earth, human, and mankind have been regressing over time and are now well below the level of that first prototype. We, as original prototypes, are paradoxically mutants of our true selves today. There are two most essential reasons for this. One is that things change in their seasons, and the other is because of deliberate science. You can actually see some mutations, but others you can't. Sometimes the organs inside your body are closed and the faculties of your body functions diminish in that. But you are not able to see or notice it. Sometimes aspects of your brain might switch off, limiting your ability to connect with spirit to some degree. So you will be trapped by mundane plane and become as easily manipulated as the mankind. Many subtle mutations can also be by act of sabotage from other beings on the plane, like a doctor might inject you with a medicine to treat a toxic situation, but that medicine was also laced with properties to sterilize you. This is a mutation that is intended for slow genocide. Ignorant mankind could be in a race with humans who are the sons of man, the supreme being, and so they see their power in being the greater in numbers. Those that have the blood of ancient gods have gone through much trauma, survived poison, holocaust, and every form of tribulation. They survive by only the blood of God in them, the blood of the Son of Man, the blood of salvation that was tested. There are also the mutants that we can see with our naked eyes. First, when the supreme God man mixed his DNA with the other form of man type, there was the first mutation. That mutation was the first prototype, the original. The child of hairy barbarians came with no hair on his skin, but he had hair in his armpit and around his private parts. He also, unlike the gods, had hair on his face. For all other parts, he was exactly like the Supreme Man. The other thing that exposed him as mutant, though, was the foreskin on his private part. Therefore, the god being instructed circumcision to make him more acceptable in appearance. This human was given the world to man or govern, for when the supreme ones left, he was the highest of all the earth. They grew in numbers and scattered, bringing four different tribes, nations, and unique cultures and appearances, but not to the degree of mutations, just to follow the way of genetics. Unlike these gods, the man's natural life cycle from birth to his passing off was in the way of 5 to 900 years. But for reasons of immortality, the gods lived for many thousands of years. In fact, the cycle of a god could be seen as a 24,000 year cycle. In 900 years, this human could fulfill a learning process and then return to the void. Even like between 5 to 900 years, this would be the cycle for the humans, which are the humans who are presently here. The god cycles are immortal cycles. If the human reincarnated, he could return with treasures he stored in the cosmic from that past life. By remembering these treasures or his past life, he became more powerful in its cycle. This was a god type so great that the human today will not fathom it, even though he is the request of that same God. They read about him and call the story myths, but the story of this mighty God man is everywhere. They talk about Jesus in the Essene books, not the Bible, which tells something different. They also tell about Melchizedek. They talk about Zeus of Ethiopia in Greece even today. They see these men as titan gods, Tutu, oboada, Komfo Tze, and so many more. All in their minds is that these stories are myths. Tutu, our thought, did explain how the diminished human could return to the next life with his memories of the past life, but that is unattainable to most humans, for they are already become toxic. Hopefully, we look to the coming ages expecting the regenerations to begin at some point. It will come. All seasons return. It is a cycle, the way of seasons. But when it begins, men will stare in flabbergasting at what they are and did not know. We have no awareness of the greatest faculties we lost. We cannot see and commune with the energies anymore. And at the time when there were many with these great cosmic awareness, people would marvel at them and call them gods, or they said, he talks with God. Their faculties were ordinary and natural traits given to all men as a birthright. But now it seems like a privilege because the majority are regressed. Some say it's from the devil, and most men say it is impossible, something that only devils possess, because the mighty had fallen, a most incredible fall, that a godlike being now bows to demigods. The human sees the power of what he is and fears it, rejecting everything to do with it. Then he stays as subject, bowed before the very devil he criticizes. This is why some are called psychics, some witches and mystics. Eons ago, the great gods walked upon the earth in his greatness, and with full faculties, he walked alongside primitive humans and mankind. So he walked with us here. The human, he was the son of man, this great God being. The mankind was the son of humans, who was mutated because of past miscegenations. There were regressed DNA. He was polarized by separating himself from the root of the all. This was not the natural way to create the balance. A divisive act by outside forces of Emmanuel beings wanted to give the humans confounded vision to divide and rule and to destabilize them. The humans were becoming too advanced in science, and by living their full 5 to 900 year cycles, they were able to achieve much. Two reasons for the great success of their realm were long life and unity. Already they were intent upon building the great vessels as that soared to heaven as those of the gods. These, including Emmanuelas, felt they had to give man war and eternal disagreements. Folks, remember to press the like button on this video, share with your friends and families, and make sure to hit the subscribe button to keep abreast of the reasoning. Reincarnation seems impossible to most, for we lost the faculty to be aware. Yet we come, go, and then we return or advance. We come, go, and then we return or advance. We might create something out of nothing, but something cannot ever turn to nothing. How did we lose that faculty to live a reasonably long life? Our ideal lifetime cycle naturally ordained is 5 to 900 years. People that lived up to 1,000 years and beyond were always too weary. 900 years was enough to complete a journey. More than enough for 500 years is good. Most of us lost the faculty to remember past lives, conception, and birth. This faculty raised the human to be as gods and masters. By the wisdom that this thing afforded, power was glorious. The Elohim gods that came to earth and developed the humankind by using his DNA with the highest humanoid type of the plane came with a toxic issue. It was called immortality, and it blessed them with the fastest growth. Immortality blessed the Elohim with the fastest growth of advancing science, that he became God. And as immortality blessed these Anunnaki beings, it turned around and cursed them 100 folds more. Even their planet had to suffer death because of them becoming immortal. So too, things they had to do, two things they had to do fast was to heal their dying planet and to find a way to regenerate and learn how to live a set cycle and die again as the humans, their own offsprings and creations would do. What the great gods last, their half children of earth possessed. People, I posit this theory that to be pure black is to go back to a stronger bloodline, and to be purebred white goes to a diminished trait. This is my theory based on what I have learned, but I am willing to listen to any science that proves me wrong. The only strengthening that any human person or race can think about is at the base, the root of human type. Therefore, put it this way, the human, by nature, was never called up for extinction. It is still the one and only prototype for all humanity. If nature will ever point to that same root base for strength, then any mutating effect is what will be threatened by natural design. Over the last 100 years, the white race was strengthened by the blood of the black race, and their children were strong by drinking the milk of black women. That has to tell you something. They are children of earth humans, but they chose otherwise. The white race are children of earth humans, but they chose otherwise, based on the legitimate claim to the higher volume of Emmanuel traits that randomly recur from past miscegenation. Their choice of Emmanuel over Elohim has to be for other reasons than a desire for superior strains. It was simply that they were deceived and cultivated by Emmanuel demigods. Why would you remove yourself from being God to becoming demigod? Moreover, look at what the white race and all others put together have shown. Look at how what the white race and all others put together have shown at the black race consistently for at least 3,000 years without cease. Look at it. Most of the black populations across the world were removed by genocide. This is what they will not tell you, so I will. All the darker races have self sufficient strains. Still, it is stronger at the root. The black race suffered the worst diseases and poisons shown against them, and still the blood of the Son of the Elohim God is still standing, that precious blood of the Son of Man, children of God. Eternal life is the natural order. Immortality is a choice that man makes through a science, being in a different energy. Because of the earth circuits, the Anunnaki felt like it was necessary to continue to use that immortality elixir so they would give themselves time to complete their mission here. Enki, the Elohim who first gave up his DNA for humankind, along with the scientist named Minerta, a woman, determined that the human must stay in his natural form. The human never took the choice of immortality, yet his intelligence was shocking. In fact, many of them became entrusted workers in various disciplines that you would not expect. In the book of Enoch, this human was so intelligent that he was given a resident task at one of their space stations. When these supreme ones left, they seeded man with higher science and knew that over time he would grow. Then, long after the gods went, servants of the Elohim that were left in this realm came down from the moon and from Mars, where they stayed to man space stations, and they envied the human beings. They came and tricked humankind, imposing themselves as the gods. They were shocked to see these civilizations that earth humans were raising. They even noticed that the humans were building spacecrafts, so they created great misunderstandings, chaos, wars, and disorders among them. They started first by endearing to the woman and subtly gaining the woman's trust. The serpent hissed into her ears, so they would betray the humans of earth. They gave them distractions to keep them in a lack of purity. They mixed with them and brought forth their own offsprings. After a length of time, the Elohims were not remembered as the gods anymore. The Emmanuel were. By winning their trust, the Emanuela managed to create miscegenations that altered the human DNA so that he would become possessed with premature aging. The human's full length of 5 to 900 years became but 70, so he would no longer be the true gods on earth in the footsteps of Elohim, for by the time he grew in wisdom, he would have to be departed from this life before he would apply it. And also the Emanuela discovered ways to destroy the human's ability to carry his memories as treasures across dimensions. With knowledge, though, this gift can be reclaimed so that humankind will again store his treasures in the cosmic to apply them in his afterlife. These are the ways of the cycles in perpetual motion. Each barrier is but a stepping stone. The seasons are changing, and the gates of heaven will open for humankind to find his way and regenerate. The seesaw effect is in tow. First will be last, and those that have the power will lose it. It is a glorious time ahead. Within the next 5 years, you might learn to not be in impossible mode anymore. Then you will see and accept the impossible events that will come. What was in the caterpillar's faculty was incredible. That caterpillar could only barely creep for a proper walk. Suddenly, it begins to shift its shape. There you see the miracle before your eyes. You are being prepared for it. Things are going to just keep manifesting. Truths are going to keep coming, and it will give you a feeling of surreality. It's all fine. You are being prepared for it. For when all the eggs hatch, you were all mere caterpillars. You even saw that butterfly and wondered what it was, but you wished you could soar through the air just like it. And at that time, if an older creature called you a butterfly, you and your siblings would laugh and mock it. Go back to your greatness. At the highest pinnacle of what you are, you cannot be objective or purposeful without embracing God in you and serving your Creator. Peace out.